Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we dive deep into company filings and try to figure out if these companies are actually making sense or just spinning their wheels. Today, we are unraveling Cuentas Incorporated's latest quarterly report, and let me tell you, it is a wild ride with more ups and downs than a roller coaster made of ice. Stick around to see if Cuentas is making a comeback or if we should just count our losses. And hey, if you like getting the real inside scoop on companies, make sure you are subscribed. We also have a fantastic Discord community linked down below where you can chat with us and other finance enthusiasts. Alright, let's get into this. Cuentas Incorporated is filing its quarterly report, a 10Q, for the period ending the 30th of June 2025. This report is essentially a snapshot of how the company is doing financially over the last 3 months and is a crucial document for understanding its health. They are telling us they are a non-accelerated filer and a smaller reporting company, which usually means they are not the giants of the business world. Looking at their balance sheet for the 30th of June 2025, things are looking pretty lean. Total assets are a mere $280,000. That might sound like a lot, but for a company it is actually quite small. Compare that to the 31st of December 2024 when they had over $1 million in assets. So a significant drop there. On the flip side, their liabilities are much higher than their assets. Total current liabilities are $3,434,000. This means they owe more money than they have readily available. A common sign of financial strain. And then we get to the stockholders deficit, which is kind of like the opposite of stockholders equity. It is negative, meaning the company owes more than it is worth to its owners. For the 30th of June 2025, this deficit stands at a hefty $3,154,000. It actually improved a bit from the end of 2024, where it was $3,170,000, but it is still a significant hole. Now let's look at how they performed. For the 6 months ending the 30th of June 2025, Cuentas reported a net loss of $21,000. That is a huge improvement from the same period in 2024 when they had a massive loss of $25,170,000. And for the 3-month period ending the 30th of June 2025, they actually reported a net income of $378,000. This is a massive turnaround from the $2,072,000 loss in the same period of 2024. It is interesting to see how these earnings per S-hair are calculated. For the 3 months ended the 30th of June 2025, they earned $0.14 per S-hair. This looks great, but remember it is based on a much smaller number of shares outstanding compared to the previous year. The weighted average shares outstanding for the 6 months ended the 30th of June 2025 was 27,19668, which is down from 29,72994 in 2024. This usually means the company has possibly issued fewer shares or had a buyback, but given their financial situation, it is more likely a reflection of their struggles. This is a super important section. Under the notes to condensed consolidated interim financial statements, they explicitly state a going concern issue. This means there is a real worry about whether the company can continue to operate. They've got only $1 in cash, negative working capital, a shareholder deficit, and a huge accumulated deficit. They admit their ability to keep going depends on raising more money and generating revenue. This is a big red flag, folks. The company talks about its subsidiaries and joint ventures like Cuentas Max LLC, which installs Wi-Fi systems. They also mention a significant development, a contribution agreement with World Mobile Group Limited to form a joint venture for a mobile virtual network operator business. Cuentas will hold 51% of this new venture. This seems like a major strategic shift, trying to get into a new market. They are aiming to expand network coverage and offer digital products. Looking at the unaudited, condensed, consolidated interim statements of comprehensive loss, we see a consistent theme. For the 6 months ended the 30th of June 2025, their operating expenses were $603,000, leading to an operating loss of $603,000. This is better than the $1,339,000 operating loss in the same period of 2024. The 3-month period also shows a similar trend, with operating expenses of $320,000 and an operating loss of $320,000 compared to $488,000 in expenses and a $496,000 loss in 2024. But then, magic happens in the other income expenses section. For the 6 months ending the 30th of June 2025, they had total other income of $582,000. For the 3 months ending the 30th of June 2025, this jumped to $698,000. This income seems to come from things like income upon extinguishment of debt and default costs related to paying principal and interest. This suggests they are settling debts, which, while good for reducing liabilities, can also be a sign of financial distress that force them to negotiate. This section outlines a lot of activity after the balance sheet date. We see settlement agreements with OL Boop Inc. and 1800 Diagonal Lending. LLC, they also sold their ownership interest in Brooksville Development Partners for $800,000. This sale helped them settle significant debts with creditors. This is a crucial point. They are actively selling assets and settling debts, which is a survival tactic. They have also entered into convertible note purchase agreements with World Mobile Group Limited for a substantial amount, which will help fund operations and potentially bring them back into CC reporting compliance. There have been some significant leadership changes. Michael DiPrado resigned as president, executive vice chairman, and chief financial officer. This, along with other CFO changes, indicates some turmoil at the top. These kinds of changes can signal restructuring or a response to performance issues. This is not good news. The Chief Financial Officer has concluded that the company's disclosure controls and procedures are not effective. This means there might be a risk that important information is not being properly recorded or communicated to management in a timely manner. This significantly raises concerns about the reliability of the financial reporting. Cuentas is involved in a legal proceeding with Secure IP Telecom, Inc. related to alleged avoidable transfers from a former subsidiary. They have accrued $300,000 for this matter. While they deny liability, this is a significant contingent liability that could impact them financially. Looking at the exhibits, we see a lot of agreements filed, including the World Mobile LLC Limited Liability Company Agreement and various contribution and subscription agreements. This confirms the significant joint venture activities Cuentas is involved in. Now, let's put on our Warren Buffett hat and look at the big picture. Cuentas Incorporated is clearly in a tough spot financially. They have very little cash, high liabilities, and a significant accumulated deficit. The going concern warning is a serious indicator that their future is uncertain. However, there are glimmers of hope, or at least strategic moves. The formation of the World Mobile LLC joint venture seems like a major bet on a new market with significant growth potential. Their recent asset sales and debt settlements, while potentially born out of necessity, are steps towards stabilizing their financial situation. The issuance of convertible notes also brings in much needed capital. The biggest red flag is the ineffectiveness of their disclosure controls and procedures. This points to potential issues with financial transparency and reliability, which is never a good sign for investors. The ongoing legal battle also adds a layer of risk. In conclusion, Cuentas is a company in a critical phase. They are making bold moves to pivot their business and secure funding, but the road ahead is undoubtedly challenging. Their survival hinges on the success of these new ventures and their ability to manage their existing liabilities and legal issues. It is a high-risk, potentially high-reward situation, but the risk is currently very, very high. Alright, that is our breakdown of Cuentas' latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Are they making a comeback, or is this a falling star? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps. And of course, subscribe for more corporate deep dives like this one. You should also definitely check out our Discord community linked in the description for more discussions and insights. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.